So let's talk about courage. What is it really? Is it always this big, heroic, fearless act? Or could it be something quieter, something a little more personal? Today, we're going to challenge our typical ideas of bravery and dive into a different kind of strength, one that you find not when fear is gone, but right in the middle of it. Seriously, when you hear that word, courage, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe a soldier on the battlefield? A firefighter running into a burning building? And yeah, those are absolutely incredible acts of courage, no doubt. But what if real, everyday courage is found in much smaller, almost invisible moments? That's what we're going to explore. And our journey starts in a pretty surprising place, with a story from death row that actually gives us a really powerful clue. So get this. A prisoner on death row is asked what he wants for his last meal. He doesn't ask for some fancy steak or lobster. He asks for mushrooms, just mushrooms. The guard is kind of confused and asks why. And the prisoner says, "All my life, I've wanted to try them, but I've always been too afraid to." Think about that. In his very last moments, he chose to conquer this small, private fear. That story about the mushrooms, that perfectly captures it, doesn't it? Courage isn't about not feeling fear. Come on, we all feel fear. Courage is the willingness to act anyway. It's making that choice to take one step forward, even when your knees are shaking. You know, Robert Louis Stevenson put it so well with this quote. Fear, that's something we all wrestle with on the inside, right? It's personal. But courage, that decision to actually do something, that has an effect on the outside world. It's an action that can even inspire the people around you. It transforms that private struggle into a very public strength. Okay, so if courage is acting despite fear, what happens when the thing you're doing is fundamentally good, but the world around you just pushes back hard? This is where courage gets a real-world test, and our source material looks at this through a powerful, timeless story. So just look at this slide for a second. It lays out this really profound conflict. On one side, you have a mission that's all about truth, healing, and love, actions that are, objectively positive. But then you look at the reaction they sparked, rejection, harassment, even threats and plots. It just begs a really important question. Why? Why would a message of pure goodness be met with that much hostility? It just seems to go against all logic. Well, here's the sobering answer. Sometimes genuine goodness is disruptive. It has a way of shining a light on things that people would much rather keep in the dark. It challenges comfortable lies, and it totally unsettles the status quo. And you know what? For people who are benefiting from the way things are, that kind of truth feels like a huge threat. And this isn't just some ancient history lesson. This is a dynamic that plays out every single day. So let's bring this into the modern world and see how it applies to anyone trying to live a life based on faith or principles. And here's the big takeaway for us today. The moment you choose to live by a different set of values, the moment you dare to stand apart from the crowd, you have to be prepared to face some resistance. It takes a certain kind of quiet courage to just hold on to what you believe is right, especially when it feels like you're standing all alone. Now, this resistance, it isn't always physical. A lot of the time, it comes in the form of ridicule, or false accusations, or something called calumny, which is basically when people try to ruin your reputation by spreading lies. And let me tell you, those kinds of attacks can hurt just as much as any physical blow. So, what kind of courage does it take to face all that? Well, the source material suggests it's not the loud, aggressive kind of courage we might think of first. It's something else entirely. And this is such a crucial distinction to make. The courage we're talking about here isn't about being loud, it's not about being aggressive, or winning an argument by being forceful. It's a quieter, more steadfast kind of strength, the type that comes from being deeply faithful to your principles no matter what. So, this brings the whole question right back to us personally. When you face that kind of ridicule or hostility for something you believe in, what's your gut reaction? Is it to shrink back and avoid the conflict, or is it to stand firm with that quiet strength? Ultimately, this is all a call to live authentically. It's about being true to your core beliefs, especially when it's really, really hard. It's about finding strength in the conviction that you're not alone, that you're part of something so much larger than yourself. So as we start to wrap this up, the message becomes very personal. This isn't just some abstract idea we're talking about. It's a practical, everyday challenge for all of us. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's that quiet voice at the end of the day that just says, "I'll try again tomorrow." It's having that difficult conversation you've been putting off. It's choosing to do the right thing when absolutely no one is watching. So the real question for you is, where in your life is that quiet, faithful strength needed today?